The FNAF movie is something that I am very passionate about, and I think it could be very good in the long run. We know the characters so far: Mike himself, his little sister, and Vanessa, an officer who was looking into the same things Mike is, trying to figure out what happened. Previously, we knew that the first film was focusing on the first game, Five Nights at Freddy's. However, there's not really much lore or story there. We know that the murders took place, the robots started to stink and smell like, well, not alive people, which leads to the place getting investigated and eventually closed down by the end of the year. We know that the killer was arrested, but there wasn't enough evidence, so he was let go. The killer, who we now know, is William Afton, Mike's father, and one of the main people who started everything to begin with, along with Henry, Emily. The lore of the first FNAF is pretty bare bones, simple, which means that the first film should be relatively easy, right? Right? Well, no. No, not really. Scott Cawthon is very specific about what he wants done with his series as far as the movie is concerned. He pretty much said as much during his interview with Dawko after the hype of Ultimate Custom Night kind of went.
Thinking over that game, and I realized that, that's probably the least valuable game I've ever made as far as profit is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the single most valuable game out of the entire franchise. And the reason is because what I learned from FNAF World is what is driving every single project going on right now. It is serving as the gemstone of quality control in my mind, and it has solidified exactly what I have to do going forward. If I was treating the movie as I was treating my game series at the time I made FNAF World,
Mm-hmm.
we would be 3 movies into the FNAF movies by now.
Yeah.
And they would probably be terrible. If I had the mindset that, oh, hey, it's Five Nights at Freddy's, people will love it, regardless of quality,
Mm-hmm.
then we would already have several movies and they would all be terrible. I mean,
Much like with Ark the Animated Series and its maps, you could easily see a movie about each game: FNAF 2, FNAF 3, FNAF 4, Sister Location, Pizza Simulator / Ultimate Custom Night. That's about 6 or 7 films. Now, should Scott decide to go that far? I'd rather doubt it personally, but if these movies are successful, I don't see why Scott and Blumhouse wouldn't make more films. There's a lot of FNAF that makes little to no sense, and a movie would be a good way to make that story more clear. There's other things I can see happening. Analog horror. It's taken YouTube by storm for the past several years, and much like my background footage by YouTube user Joe Lonick, link in the description for the playlist, it's creepy and terrifying. Meme Bear and many other content creators like these are the keys to making the movie great. Creepy images and greater hints to the larger story. Many people have talked about the films before. Even Matt Pat, the game theorist himself, has weighed in a couple of times. And I personally think that his take on what could go on is quite interesting indeed. And just have a listen.
You're already having to introduce the audience to a lot of stuff. There's a serial killer and a series of murders that have happened years prior, and the suits have come alive and are possessed, which is a lot to ask of an audience initially, while also doing all this world building. And so I feel like a good chunk of the movie, at the very least, has to focus around the murderer stalking in a pizzeria, shoving bodies into suits. And to me, almost, it might be the best way to end it is the animatronics come to life, cuts. Now let's set up the next movie or whatever, where like, oh wow, we're in a world where possessed animatronics exist. Or maybe around the midway point, that's when the animatronics come to life, and now you're dealing with a killer and haunted robots. But I think you have to see the pizzeria before any of the scary, spooky events happen to establish that state of normalcy and see the possession process take place rather than the animatronics just automatically start off possessed. I feel like that might be pushing things a bit too far.
The movie must be scary. It must be. FNAF hasn't been scary in a good while, and this lean into analog will make it scary. Security Breach was pretty bad, but the music was pretty fire, which is why I'm using it in the background. I mean, this opening cutscene, come on now. Check out the other analog horror series. I do recommend them all. Check them out. I will warn you though, do not watch these at night, and especially by yourself. During the day, and possibly with someone who isn't scared of things like that. Lady Divik, for instance, will only watch these with me, and because a lot of this stuff doesn't really scare me all that much, unless you start getting into body horror or something like that. Then you got me. But start with Squimpus and Grimpus. Go from there. Watch Meme Bear. All these guys. There's so many analog horror folks that are all over the place, and they're really, really good. So you know what? Hey, let me know. How would you make the FNAF film? Would you lean into the horror? Would you make it like analog horror? Maybe Golden Freddy apparates and shows Mike something through the film. Who knows? It could be really, really good. Just let me know in the comment section, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you guys, and I appreciate you guys watching all the way through. I really do. But let me know in the comment section, and yeah, I'll see you next time.